All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, we are going to talk about Luis Pena getting released from the UFC after a really gnarly incident. I want to talk about Jon Jones not getting released and, why I believe that those two things are very different. But also, apparently, Jon Jones has been asked to leave the Winkeljohn gym for the time being. And we're going to talk about all those things because they feel relatively connected, and I could give you my human take on these things. But before I do that, let me say this. Well, first of all, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell, son. Now, I want to say this. Ariel Helwani has an incredibly streamlined operation. I just want to say that. Now, if this seems like I'm giving Helwani back massages on here, for the record, he can get it too. If he wants to throw me on his hot list, we can do that. But before we do, let me just say this. I'm looking at a link of him talking to Mike Winkeljohn. I'm trying to find the link so I can, pull the clip and put it in my video. And he's still live. Like, Ariel's still live, and the clip is on his Twitter, MMA Fighting's Twitter, and it's on the MMA Fighting website, and it's still a live, active show. I don't know how the hell he's doing that, but that's really impressive. So, good for you, Helwani. Good for you. Anyway, so I don't really know where to start. Let's start with the Jon Jones thing. So, Mike Winkeljohn was on Ariel's show and basically said that he had asked Jon Jones, or has asked Jon Jones to leave the gym for the time being and quit drinking. He said some of the things that I said in my video, that he's got a wife, he's got 3 daughters. The same part that I thought really kind of bothered me the most was about the daughter being the one that's saying, call the cops. And, look, I would imagine if it was someone else, Jon Jones would have a very similar outlook on it also. It's just like the thought of your kid having to go through something like that emotionally is a terrible thought. And I really do believe that when people are that drunk, it is a different person driving the car. I don't know if I say, when you black out and then this happens, I don't know if that's going to apply to a lot of people, but anyone who has blacked out before, it's people start telling you about what you did, and you're like, don't tell me, because the person that was driving your meat suit, that ain't me, dude. You get me where I'm actually blacked out and people start telling me about things that I did. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, don't tell me. Don't tell me, because that's too embarrassing, because I would never do a thing like that, But so I'm just saying, I think that we'll get to how the Jon Jones thing is different, but I really believe that Jon Jones' main problem is he just got to quit drinking. And that's what Winkeljohn said. He said, just, take a break, quit drinking. Let's, don't have an incident for a certain amount of time. Now, Jon Jones lives in Albuquerque. I don't think there's a bunch of really high-level MMA, camps there. And this is a time where he should be training and getting ready for ultimately a heavyweight exhibition or a title fight that's going to be against a killer one way or the other, whether it's Francis or Cyril, assuming that he can keep it together and get there. But this is not time for a break in training, I would say. So hopefully he can quit drinking, obviously. And the thing is, honestly, I'm speculating here, but I don't know if John's one of these alcoholics that drinks every night or whatever. I think he's just he's one of those guys that's a type 2. He can't drink, dude. He's a type 2. Type 1's drunk all the time, and you're like, dude, is this guy drinking right now? It's Monday and you catch them having a drink at 1 p.m. You're like, hey, dude, there's no way that you can convince yourself that you're partying right now. There's just no way that anyone can tell themselves a story that at 1 p.m. on Monday, you're partying. You ain't partying, dude. You're an alcoholic. I would highly doubt that Jon falls into that category. But, like I've said, there are some people where that booze hits a certain part of their brain, and dude, it is a different person. He's like a type 2. Anyway, the evidence would support that. But hopefully he quits drinking, he gets back into training, and he does well. I have nothing but, good hope, good intentions and optimism. That's the wrong word. I want nothing but the best for the guy. I want nothing but the best for Jon and his family. It's just true. And Mike Winkeljohn came off very much that way as well. He came off he is trying to help Jon. He said that he's got a bunch of yes men around him. He's like, someone needs to tell him the truth, dude. Someone needs to tell him the truth. And I respect that immensely. So anyway, hopefully that works out. Now, Luis Pena, he's out of the UFC. Now, I got a bunch of messages from people being like, yo, you got to do a video about Luis Pena getting released and Jon Jones not getting released. Like, what, you know, that's super messed up. Double standard. I'm like, first of all, that ain't a double standard. Okay. Like, that's, Luis Pena is like, Jon Jones has been in the mix long enough where you can kind of pinpoint, you're like, this guy has a drinking thing. He's not like an actually crazy person. You know what I mean? And also, none of the things that he had done up until this last one were anything more than this guy's out of control. But like, he's not like dangerous, you know? He's not like a dangerous person to society. And he hasn't, you know, and we still don't really know exactly what happened with the wife. I mean, look, like a guy like Jon, right? A dude as big as Jon, who if he wanted to hurt his wife, because when you go back to the Luis Pena thing, he punched his wife, or his girl or whatever, got on top of her while she was on the ground and was smashing her face. Like, imagine a UFC fighter, whap, whap, on a, like when they're, that is a crazy, and then the girl comes over to try to help. That's insane, dude. Like, that's like, to be able to put it on a girl like that, like put it on a girl, that's crazy town. Now with Jon, and again, no one really knows what happened there, but there's certainly a scenario where heated, girl blocks the door, Jon, get out of my way. No, get out of my way, grab girl, push her hard, face hits the wall, like something like that. There's definitely a scenario where, inexcusable, but different than on a girl like Luis Pena. Like, Luis Pena is a disturbed person, man. Like, this is not the first time, and this is, and his crimes are disturbing. Like, they're like, this is a person who's unsafe. I wouldn't want him anywhere near my company either. Also, I mean, are we actually, like, obviously Jon Jones is a huge asset to the UFC. He's a superstar. He's potentially the greatest fighter of all time. He has more title defenses than anyone ever, and he's like in his mid-30s. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's a big difference between those two guys. But I do think there's an enormous difference between the two, the events that we're talking about here. I don't think they're the same at all. I really, really don't think that they're the same. So yeah, I don't see it as a double standard. So those are my thoughts. I mean, look, hopefully, Luis Pena is probably going to jail, but hopefully the guy gets some help. I mean, look, I wouldn't, if I said I was bullish on the likelihood that he gets it together after a situation like that, I would be lying. You know, and with Jon, I am bullish that he can get it together. He just needs to, like, literally give it up, dude. Like, this is not, you can't make any deals with yourself, dude. Like, that part of your life is over and everything will fall into place for you. Because one of the things Winklejohn said was that Jon is capable of incredible, like, great things, like not just as a fighter, but also like as a commentator, as a speaker. That's 100% true. Like, Jon is a really smart guy. Like, Jon's a very articulate, smart guy. He's funny. He's charismatic. Like, he's one of those guys that could do anything. He could start Jon Jones could start a YouTube channel doing what I do, and he could, dude, he would be making, it's probably not comparable. When I say what real money is to him, it's probably not real money, but I mean, look, like, there's real money in what we're doing, like what I'm doing. And I wouldn't say that if I was concerned about creating competition for myself, because I don't have any competition, son. I'm special. And there's no one that can do what I do. But seriously, like, you think that Chael and Bisping and these guys are doing this because, like, it's a nice hobby? Like, he could create a good stream of income. You just have to take it seriously and be very, very, very consistent, and then see if maybe your talent can stack up to mine. Unlikely. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, dude, Jon Jones is capable of great things. He just needs to kick the booze, period. You can't party, dude. Can't party. But anyway, so I don't know. That's pretty much what I got. I'm going to do a video right now about Justin Gaethje, though, because Justin Gaethje, he put out a statement about Colby Covington that I think is great. And I was thinking about this. I never get to do any videos about Kamaru Usman, Gaethje, Rose, Whitman, like that whole crew. I never get to do any videos about them because they're just, all they do is just win. Like, it's just like a big ball of excellence. They don't do anything that I can, like, make fun of. So Gaethje just did a whole, like, said some shit about Colby that I'm like, I can make a video about that. Anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell.